looks like, huh? Looks like we're getting that glitch. I don't know. Gonna have to. Yeah, I don't know. Fortunately, there's still that found match glitch going around, or bug, where it says it's found match, but then it doesn't find a match. I don't. I don't know why that's the case. Hopefully that gets fixed at some point. Oh, there we go. All right. I don't even know who to play. Might be time to play some. It's maybe the first game of the day, so this could be rough. Huh. I think we'll try. Why not? We'll do some greenskins. I haven't done greenskins in a while. They can always be a bit of fun. Bit of a nuisance faction. Let's see, what can we do now? One of the things we do need to be aware of is Hellebron with her annoying chariot of annoyingness. But we do have Wa to counteract her with our own sort of death bit. Not sure if I want to bring the Crimson Killers. They could actually be decent in this matchup. Kind of tempted to bring Grimgore just because he's fun, but he's not the most competitive of lords, unfortunately. I do wish they would buff Grimgores. I definitely do wish they would buff Grimgores. I think we'll bring Wartsag. Maybe, I don't know. He does have the Bonewood Staff. But Azak can be good too. With Fate of Buna just to nuke down elites. Actually, goodness, I don't really know what I want to go with. Nah, I think we'll be fine with it. It's so many decisions, too many decisions. We'll bring some Savage Orc Big Guns because they trade rather well with. Well, I think we'll go with Wartsag and we'll try to make him work. We'll try to cut some corners. Warsacrifice Revenge isn't bad. It basically guarantees a miscast. I definitely know War Paint. That's way too. It's 38 gold. That's probably better spent elsewhere. In my humble opinion, Edbutt, no. Fists of Gork we can keep. Brainburst we can keep. Gaze of Mork we can keep. Foot of Gork is tempting, but honestly I don't think I'll be using it. Basically never get use out of that one. And we'll bring Bonewood Staff and then Squiggly Beast, which will give us some decent power reserves. Then Night Goblin Shaman, who can get Sneaky Stealing? Maybe, I don't know. There we go. Gork will fix it. Now, how to build the rest of this army. Now, of course, with the Dark Elves, you do have to be very wary of a lot of stuff, really. They could bring Dark Riders. They could bring. They could bring Dark Riders. They could bring. With crossbows, they could bring. What else could they bring? They could bring the Executioners. They could bring Sisters of Slaughter. Savage Orc Big Guns are really good against Sisters of Slaughter, but they're not that great against anything else, as far as I know. Well, no, they'll dumpster other Dark Elf infantry pretty decisively, I'm pretty sure, especially like Dread Spears, Bleak Swords, that sort of stuff. And they should trade okay even with Black Orc Corsairs, I would think. I'm trying to think what we need here. We definitely need some AP, so probably some Black Orcs. Maybe some zoning power, some rusty errors. We'll see. I'll definitely want some shooting contingent. We can also just zone away Dark Riders with Moonhouse. The problem is if my opponent goes very heavy on, say, cavalry, this could go downhill, or especially the. We definitely need some nasty skulkers for the backline defense. Tempted to bring a giant, but I don't know how he does it. Let's see. Against Sister of Slaughter, he'd probably do terrible. Pretty flippin' terrible, I'd imagine. Against... He'd probably do well against Executioners, but I'm bringing Black Orcs for that one. And I'll have a good chunk of debuffs and buffs and all that sort of stuff to keep things working. So... I think we'll bring some Forest Goblin Spider Riders just to give us some additional mass. And I don't know if this is that competitive build, but it does give us some AP. It does give us some anti-large. It gives us some shooting. Yeah, it can defend itself in okay amount. It gives us some nasty Skulkers. We'll be very light on cav, which sucks. But, yeah, I don't really see any other way to do this. I think we should be okay. We should be okay, in my opinion. We'll see. It's a warm-up round. Haven't played yet today. So if it's a disaster, oh well. Not the end of the world. And before I get a crash at loading, I've had that happen to me before as well lately. This is one of those kind of annoying maps, and it looks like I got the low ground area, which kind of sucks. Oh well. Yeah, I don't know. 299, 298. There we go. I mean, my opponent went more elite than I did. That is for sure. I think what we'll do is we'll mix and match our Black Orcs with the Savage Orcs, which means that no matter how my opponent deploys, and I'm assuming with such a narrow build, we're probably looking at Sisters of Slaughter, backed, or maybe Executioners. Both are pretty competitive picks in this matchup. I'm not entirely sure which it would be, but that's kind of my assumption right now. We'll put the Bacon Lord in the back here. So these guys can be control group 2. These guys can be control group 3. I'm definitely assuming it's a reasonably elite army. Sometimes you'll see Dark Elf armies that go into 900s, 800s, 1000s, because Dark Elves can definitely go wide there. Unlike say, oh, that's an odd. Oh, it's that. There's this bug sometimes where the yeah, you get like weird controls. Either way, you can go in the center here with the Black Orcs. I actually like attaching the Shaman into the front line just because if he hits anything, he applies poison, which is, it might not be recommended, but it's definitely fun. It makes him a surprisingly okay support tool in close quarters. But, yeah, Dark Elves are definitely a faction that can go surprisingly wide. It's one of those things I don't think a lot of people anticipate. They always think they're very elite. Yeah, that's not necessarily always the case. Now, my opponent here decided to go with a bunch of bolt throwers. He's got the Raven Heralds, and he's got... Okay, well, I can live with that. That's odd, to be fair. I surprised me a little bit. I might have to be doing making the moves like Jagger here with good old Pig Lord, because I don't feel like getting pounded to dust by a bunch of bolt throwers. If you go single shot mode, this could be rough. I need to keep him alive. Okay, it looks like he's not really interested in doing single shot mode, and this is not good for this map's actually terrible for artillery. I've been on the other side before as say Skaven or I've been on the other side of this one as Skaven or I'm trying to think, as dwarves and factions like that, and this is a terrible, and when I say terrible, I mean terrible artillery map. Granted, these guys, you can see these guys are always struggling to land hits, and my opponent's going to be forced to move them up, which is just begging for a disaster. Now I have to be wary. If my opponent has Malekith, I have to be very wary of the fact that he could all of a sudden hit me with the Dark Sword, and that would put me in a very bad spot. Right for now, we just got to get our matchups going good. We got to get the right matchups. Black orcs in there, you guys in there, you guys in there, you guys back, you guys in there, you guys there, you guys there, and wah. Let's wah. You guys start picking away at them. I don't know why you are over there. Let's get everyone into the fight here. Get some fighting there. And we'll get a nice little cast on those Savage Orc big guns. And they should start mincing those guys up really quickly. We need to shut down those guys. We need to get these guys around the flank. Warsag needs to get in there. We are going to start. Yeah, one of our Black Orcs is buckling. But you know what? It's okay. Not the end of the world. And I think that is hella broken. So, oh boy, this is not good. But you know what? We dumpstered those guys. Now we can go deal with them. We're going to be able to shoot down these clowns up in the sky. You guys can get on to them. We've zoned off. Okay, we're doing well. We're doing well. I think this is already in the bag. My opponent invested too heavily into archers. He's going to, over here, he's going to be forced to try to zone me off. We're going to get into those guys. And actually, these guys are about to get rear charge, which is an absolute disaster for my opponent. I'm sure he did not want that to happen. He summoned a Manticore. Feral Manticore's terrible summon. Legitimately not worth it. You guys need to get in here. Help out over there. Okay. Yeah, this is... You're not going to... I don't know how to put it. But now the Black Orcs here, yeah, they're getting mauled by some Dread Spears, and I don't actually know why they're taking so much damage. But you know what? I can't really be bothered to care too much. We'll rally these guys. We'll beat them up. Could go back. Right now, part of the problem really is that if I use the Effigy of the Gate, it's actually not going to do very much to her. I can use it, but Crone Hellebron has a very high magic resist, but I'm going to just use it to keep it pinned down. These guys are going to buckle soon. Granted, that means these guys are falling apart. We'll get the Nasty Skulkers on the Reaper Bolt Thrower, and we can over here get a nice little cast, and then we'll go after Hellbroken with our friend the Baconator. So archers, those guys got completely wrecked. We'll go after what's her face. Nasty Skulker's actually still in very good shape, so we'll go shut her down. Baconator is surprisingly decent in close quarters, so I have hope. And now my opponent here is basically screwed, I think. I don't know why these guys fell back. That's really odd. But this should definitely be game. Yeah, I think that's it. Unless there's an unbreakable unit somewhere. Oh, there is. There's a Feral Manticore is unbreakable, I think. But should be game. So GG. I don't know why it doesn't. Oh well. You can see all my horrible naming there. I just need something there. But either way, yeah, you can see all my horrible naming conventions for stream. Or for saves. Regardless, let's see. For my opponent's build, I think this comes down to my opponent not really knowing the map to an extent. Reaper Bolt Throwers can do okay against Black Orcs, say. Yeah, they can do okay, but not on this map. This is a terrible flat arc artillery map. If you're trying to make use of cannons, warp lightning cannons, any of those units, and you're not camping in the far back, this is a really, really terrible map. The Zua Lake or whatever this is atrocious for artillery. Don't bring them. I've tried at Skaven to bring warp lightning cannons, and I got forced to sort of move them up to the ridge, and it was just a disaster. I think I went up winning the game, but it was definitely no thanks to the cannons, who just were getting shut down and blocked by the hill. So something to keep in mind. Otherwise, for this composition, a bit of an interesting take on things. I think you can honestly match the greenskins in a straight up fight, especially if you're bringing, say, Crone Hellebron. But rather than bring the Sorcerers of Beasts here, I'd probably bring a Sorcerer of, say, Shadows or Death or something like that. I'd try to get a few more Harrigan Executioners in there, maybe some Dark Shards. The big problem is that these guys got completely shut down by the Savage Orc Air Boys. The Black Orcs doing a great job. The Savage Orc Big Guns just brutal stuff. So you need to be able to match the Greenskins somewhere. And I don't think Artillery, personally, I don't think it's the best choice here. I think you're definitely better off bringing Sisters of Slaughter or Harrigan Executioners or a mix of the two to get the best results. And probably some different sort of setup. And maybe just drop Crone Hellebron as well, but get Caster Lord, so you have it all wrapped up in one. Regardless, getting into my opponent Fishy Gooch here, let's hop on to the next one. And we'll see what we can get. This is just a short stream, guys. I'm not going to be doing anything too fancy. Just, by the way, I've just been just going to be about an hour. I had some time off. I'll probably schedule one for tomorrow. Okay, Beppy the Clown, Cliff of Beasts. I forget what that map looks like, to be quite fair. What faction have I not played in a while? Good in Norska. Why not? I haven't touched Norska in a while. I don't particularly enjoy their playstyle. If I'm going for a rush faction, I usually prefer doing I can't even think. If I'm going for a rush faction, I generally prefer Beastmen. Not really the biggest fan of Norska. Plus, Norska does struggle a little bit against the Dwarves, in my opinion. Dwarves just have some really solid counters to them. And the fact that with a Rune Lord you can just cut down the Fimir strength against them is just brutal. Even further than it already is. It sucks. Either way. We could bring Wulfric. Could bring Wulfric on a Mammoth, which is risky with how strong Dwarf shooting is nowadays. And how much tougher they are to just push through. Maybe just bring him on a horse. Or a chariot. I might actually bring him on a chariot and see how that works, because chariots have been serving me pretty well with Khazrak, so... And he's actually got some crazy stats on a chariot. Like, I thought Khazrak's stats were decent on the chariot, but 48 is ridiculous. Now, unfortunately, that's just weapon damage, which means it's actually not going to help him that much. I'm probably not even going to bother with the Sword of Torgal, because it only applies to non-AP, so... Not worth it, in my opinion. We will bring a Fimir Balefiend of Shadows. I think we'll back... I do think Marauder Champions need some help. Currently, I think they're underpowered compared to Berserkers, but we'll bring some Marauder Champs. We'll bring a Fimir Balefiend of Shadows. We will take off Penumbral Pendulum. We'll take off Melkoth's Miasma. We'll take off Occam's Mindrazor. Occam's Mindrazor is almost a complete waste because it was against Dwarves. And if your opponent brings a Rune Lord, it is literally a complete waste because all it does is gives you magic damage and then you lose the 40% bonus. So we're basically just going to go with those two spells. Would bring a Scroll of Shielding. I'm not really going to bother with that, though. Tempted to bring Evasion. Maybe we'll do that. I think we'll just roll like this. Front line, some Marauder Champs in there. The big problem for Norska against Dwarves is actually that Norska doesn't have a lot of AP options. Or doesn't have a lot of non-magic AP options, which kind of sucks from it. Most other factions have a lot of non-magical AP of some sort or another. But Norska does not, which... kind of sucks. I don't know, so we'll bring some champions. Last time I brought a bunch of Berserkers, which can work okay, but maybe try some Marauder Hunters, but if my opponent brings shooting, they're just going to die. Some Brutes of the Hound. I'm kind of thinking of doing an almost high health build against this one, just to go very wide. I could also just go very wide with Marauder Champions. The problem is they're not as good, or with Great Weapons. The problem is they're just not as good as, say, Swordmasters, or, they're not as good as Swordmasters. They're not as good as, what are they called? The other Great Weapon unit, they're barely better. They're not even, or they're arguably not even that much better than the, what are they called? It's some... I don't even know what to bring here. Some hounds, maybe. We could drop some berserkers. I could also try trolls. The problem with trolls is they're a little iffy against dwarves. Why not? We'll give them a shot. I haven't given trolls a proper shake in a while. Try 2 ice trolls because they hit a little harder. They're a little more offense oriented. Unfortunately, it's being really... We'll take evasion off you, which will give me enough money for 1 more unit of marauders. And yeah, I think we'll roll with this. Yeah, Norska, I don't think this is a good matchup for Norska, to be quite honest. I think this is arguably the worst. If Norska has a bad matchup, I think it's dwarves. I think that's one of the worst matchups for them because normally for their generic strat is just so reliant on Fimir right now. Mammoths are kind of trash. I do think Soul Crusher's okay with the 44% ward save, but I don't really think Mammoths are that good in general anymore. Especially, and dwarves have always been okay against them just because of their massive shooting, and now because they can get they've got more mass themselves and they've got much more, and their shooting's been buffed. A lot of it has, right? Mammoths are just a much worse unit in general. So I don't know. We'll give the trolls a fair shake and see what happens. I don't know if this is a competitive build at all. I just want to screw around with Norska and see what we can get. So regardless, we'll get these guys out there. Wolfrick's on a chariot, and this is unfortunately a very open map. I don't have any ranged units. One of the things I like to do is take a ranged unit and sort of gauge how far my opponent can shoot. And unfortunately, I've got no way of doing that. So what we're gonna have to do is kind of just hope and pray. Spread out like that. These guys don't do magic damage. They have frostbite. Spread these guys out further. Get them out on the flanks. These guys aren't that good. I really do think these guys need some help. One of the big problems from Marauder Champs is they've got really low HP. Even compared to Berserkers, their HP is not that good. But it's not compensated for with, say, decent stats or anything like that. And these guys are actually less mobile than the shielded variant, which I'm not entirely sure why that is the case. We'll put Wolfric out here, control group 3. Pray to God the Fimir doesn't get just hard countered by something. I don't know what my opponent could bring to like hard counter me. Yeah, it could snipe me with a cannon probably. And then we'll get these guys out on the flank to just apply some pressure. But yeah, this will basically be it, and hopefully it works out. Yeah. So there we go. Do apologize. I'm not sure why I'm coughing so much. And what do we have? Oh boy, what the heck? That is odd. It's a lot of Thunderers. Fortunately, I didn't bring too much large. I definitely... Unfortunately, we'll see. Hopefully it goes okay. This could get a little grim rather quickly. We'll take Wolfric out. At least my opponent doesn't have... Let's see, what is it? It's a bunch of Slayers, some Thunderers. This is a really odd build. This is something you don't see very often. Boy, alright. So. We need to get you guys in the center. Get you guys on the Giant Slayers. Get you guys on the Slayers. Get you guys in right on the miners. Get you guys on those guys. And get the trolls moving in. We definitely don't want the trolls engaging over there. We're going to start taking some fire. These guys need to push up and get in there. And my opponent did not go... What is this? Is this Ungrim? It is Ungrim. But we got a nice little clipping attack there. And we'll get in on these Thunderers and shut them down. Anytime you can swing around. And the Slayers are going to have a terrible time here. And now Wolfric can pop. Wah. All that good stuff. We can hit him with a debuff. And now our Fimir. hit those guys with Giant Slayers with that. We'll hit the center pocket with the Withering. And we are winning already, I think. Get in on those Thunderers. Wulfric needs to get out of dodge because he really can't stand up to Ungrim. Not like this at any rate. Berserkers, though, charging up on those Longbeards. Get Wulfric to crush those Slayers. We'll get in on those Thunderers. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Get these Longbeards collapsed. Over here, it does look like the Giant Slayers actually dumpster the Marauder Champs, but we debuffed the Marauder Champ a whole bunch, so we should be okay. My opponent's army just buckling. Fortunately, yeah, the Slayers are just still doing work. Marauder Champs need to... Yeah, the Slayer's doing a surprising amount of work. I don't know why. Holy heck. It's kind of crazy. Now, we're going to win this one, I think, pretty decisively, but so I'm not too concerned. Oh, boy. Are those Giant Slayers? Oh, no. No, 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 no. This guy needs to get out of there. This is not where he wants to be at all. Not where he wants to be in life. Wulfric's routed those guys off. Marauders can keep chasing. Marauder Champions need to be in here against those guys. Wulfric, get in there. Get in there. Get a nice little cast. And run, Wulfric, run. Pop some Foe Seeker. Now, my opponent has not done a very good job at all of focusing down Wulfric. My Troll's routed. Not entirely surprising, but you know what? The Trolls have done actually a surprising amount of damage here. Now, my opponent's build here definitely kind of helped because it's not a very good build in my opinion, but we should be able to mop these guys up. They shatter. We'll move on to just tie these clowns down. Buy me some time. Trolls are back, and of course with the regen, they'll be in a pretty good spot. Wulfric just running amok back here. We can hit what's his face with Hunter of Champions. Despite his high defensive stats, Wulfric just, or Ungrim, or despite his some of his high stats, Ungrim just can't hold up really, and he just does such low melee defense. Even without Red Ruin, he's pretty terrible in melee. But I really can't afford to let Frick stay in there. Well, it's okay. We'll beat him down with their tools. It's just a question of mopping up a few Slayers now. I don't know why my opponent won't GG out, but it's okay. He pops his Red Ruin. He popped Deadly Onslaught. I guess. Ungrim just has such terrible melee defense. It's like, what, 35? It's 30. 35. It's pitiful. Giant Slayer's gonna get wiped. Then it's bye-bye Ungrim. And, yeah, GG. So... yeah, I can't say much there. That was... that was interesting. My opponent's build was just bad, I think, is the big problem. You don't need this many Giant Slayers. The problem with Norska, like, with Slayers is that Norska honestly has a lot of tools to kill Slayers. They're not that much of a threat. They came close to snuffing out one of my Marauder Champions, but that's because they got tag teamed by Giant Slayers and Slayers. Huge overinvestment. Really, I think you're better off just bringing a bunch of either Iron Breakers or Longbeards for your front line, backing them up with a good chunk of shooting and a Rune Lord. The Rune Lord to just take a dump on any magic your opponent might bring, because a lot of Norskins will still risk the Fimir. In my experience, they'll still try to run them. They'll still try to rely on some magic damage in there. And you can just shut them down with the Rune Lord. You take off another 15% of their damage. They're already down to like minus 40%. It's like a major league screw over for them. I was definitely happy with Wulfric. You can see 123 kills, so definitely not bad. The one unit of Norscan Ice Trolls got kind of pushed back by the Thunder Fire, but the other unit, 76 kills, so they did okay. I'm not necessarily saying they're competitive against Dwarves, obviously with the shooting, and Dwarves will always bring a good chunk of shooting. These guys will suffer quite a bit, but they are non-magic AP for source, so pretty decent there. Marauder Champs, all in all, trading pretty well. They're pretty expensive, though, at 1,000 gold, so I don't know if they're actually trading cost effectively, to be quite honest. The Brutes of the Hound and the Berserkers, all A-OK. Marauders, A-OK. Chewing apart a unit on the route. Marauder Champs with the Grey Weapons, also good. So, all in all, pretty happy with this build. Definitely. Not much to say. Good game to my opponent here, Beppy the Clown. Like I said, I don't think this is the most competitive build. I do think you want some Slayers, obviously, as Dwarves. You need something to defend your backline, but I definitely don't think you need a bunch of Giant Slayers and normal Slayers and stuff like that. Fimir can be shut down with shooting, and everything else doesn't really require AP. So, just my 2 cents on the matter. We'll try to get another game. And yeah, I do hope the stream isn't too slow or laggy. don't know if it's having issues with any sort like that. It's gonna be a short stream today, regardless. But I would be a bit sad if it was sort of bad. I don't know if my opponent tends to go board low or just doesn't have the DLC. Should we do some good old Bretonia versus High Elves? I feel like that's a broken matchup. Why not? If my opponent changes, I'm not going to change off. I'm not going to change off Bretonia. Apologies there. No need for regrowth. Oh no, we do need regrowth. I was about to say, oh, we don't need regrowth. Yeah, we do. Definitely want regrowth. Chalice of Potions. I almost feel a little bad. It's kind of counter. I don't know if it's counter picking. We'll see. Maybe before I lose, then I won't be counter picking. I don't know if I really want the companions of Quentinless, to be honest. Against the High Elves, you don't really need them. Some Grail Knights, some Grail Guardians, some Fire Arrows, and that leaves us with a whole bunch of money left over for peasants. Some Men at Arms, Sword and Board probably. I don't know if I want some Foot Squires in here. They're tempting. They're not a great unit. They're not a terrible unit either. They would give me one unit to sort of anchor the line. I could also drop one of the peasants with fire arrows, nerf them to peasant bows, and put another unit of peasant men at arms here in the front line. I know some people like to do. I know a favorite of some people is to do. Is to run. What is it called? I'll wait for him to ready up. I know a favorite of some people is throwing a Trebuchet. I personally don't like the Trebuchet in this matchup. Yeah, it'll do some like consistent overtime damage, but it's usually 700 to 900 gold down the drain, effectively speaking. It might pick apart some Phoenix Guard over time, but really you're just better off, in my opinion, bringing 3 units of chaff so that you can invest fully in cavalry, or invest a good amount in cav. Bretonian cav is what's going to be carrying you every time here, in my opinion. We'll see. My opponent, there are some strats that High Elves have that can definitely win, so if my opponent could easily be able to take me apart if he brings the right stuff. One of the surprising things that I was actually seeing is that High Elf players, if you get magic support on your Dragon Princes, they can trade surprisingly well with Grail Knights. And actually, if you do a straight-up fight, as long as Dragon Princes have their martial mastery up, they're essentially trading tit for tat with Grail Knights. There's no major advantage going either way. The advantage really kicks off for the Grail Knights after the Princes lose their martial mastery. So if you can, in some way, if you can compensate with regrowth, with enfeebling foe on the Grail Knights, with something, and keep your guys' martial mastery on, you can actually go cav heavy against Bretonia. It's one of those things I think a lot of people don't risk, but it's one of those things you can do. Otherwise, Nets and Phoenix Guard, not a terrible choice. Regardless, we will see what my opponent does here. He's thinner than I am, which doesn't really mean all that much, because cavalry does only come in units of 45, so there's a good shot. We'll see. Sister of Avalorn I've been seeing a lot in this matchup, but I don't actually think they're all that good, because the big problem is that you can't defend them usually, so your opponent will just kind of pile past the spears, and well, that are supposed to be defending them, and then just dive in, slaughter the sisters, and then probably waltz out of there with at least half their models intact. But we will definitely see. Also, this is a map that kind of favors me. We'll see. We'll march to the ridge and kind of see what we can spot. Unfortunately, we can't see anything. I didn't bring a Vanguard unit, so no way of knowing what my opponent might be hiding. Another possibility with 677 is that he brought bolt throwers. Bolt throwers are actually one of my favorites in this matchup, and I know maybe I don't know. I don't know. I've never really seen other people do it. Bring bolt throwers as as the High Elves against Bretonia, but I actually think they're a really strong choice. Definitely not. Not really used to seeing people employ them correctly. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, things are about to get interesting. He did decide to match me in the cav department, and we are going to. This is actually about. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. Oh boy, this is going to be really interesting. Alright, and he's hiding his lord in the back. You guys need to get in there ASAP. But we're winning on this flank. Look at that wrap up. One of the big problems. Okay, my opponent is trying to flank around there. I don't know why he brought the Swordmasters. That's, in my opinion, not a very good choice at all. We'll chase those guys down with the Fae. And then... I don't know what these archers with light armor are doing either. We get a nice little nuke there. Not amazing, but... run. Is the Fae not fast enough to catch him? Come on.
God help us! Glory awaits! For Britannia! Peasant bowmen!
As far as the Grail Guardians hold, though, this is like... Come on, Fae Enchantress. Oh my goodness, this is pathetic, and she's not where I need her in the fight. Screw that. Oh, they're too weak to do anything. Over here, we're going to be able to buckle them. We'll get back down. We got to keep bouncing. Got to be on the bounce. You guys need to tie those guys down. You guys are holding surprisingly well. Wait, are those Grail Guardians? They are Grail Guardians. Oh, well, I'm using the wrong units. Okay, those guys are routed. You guys need to come back. They're fine. They're gone. Get in there. Who is that down there? Is that Tyrion? And my opponent didn't bring Tyrion to the front? What the heck? Grail Knights, Foot Squires, get in there. I don't know what my opponent was thinking here. He didn't pull Tyrion into the front out again. I don't think Tyrion would have swung the tide here, but oh man, that's quite a miss. I don't know why he's not there. Why wouldn't you bring Tyrion into the fight here? We'll wait till our boys get their charge in. It's the White Lions. All right, you guys need to come back. Get in here. These guys are just running amok. They're shattered. Get in there. Yeah, I don't... That was odd. Fun 3, I guess. Yeah, I don't know what that was all about. My opponent's build... White Lions aren't necessarily a terrible pick here because I'm pretty sure they outtrade Foot Squires and they'll do some damage in cavalry. I thought it would be an interesting match when my Dragon Princess came charging over. I figured my opponent had a plan to just match me in the cav field. I'm like, oh, look at this, we'll see it. But my opponent didn't do that. He went with a very elite infantry heavy build. I don't know why you'd go. Now I can understand why you go with more elite infantry because you can potentially out elite Bretonnian. You crush the Bretonnian infantry really cost effectively, and then you kind of bunker down and defend against their cav. It can work, but as it was. And you actually got to see, though, the Grail Knights definitely took a pounding from the Dragon Princes. I don't think they got a full charge off, which definitely helped my opponent's case. But you can see the Grail Knights, they're very strong. They can definitely take a beating from Dragon Princes. And these guys, sure, they were chevroned up. They were, you know, they got the jump on me. But Grail Knights can definitely take a pounding from Dragon Princes, so definitely watch out. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know what my opponent was entirely thinking. I definitely made a mistake over chasing there with the Fae Enchantress. Fortunately, she's very quick on Seal of Our Own, so she can always get back and in good time. The Grail Guardians anchored the line solo there. Normally, I leave them in there with the Fae Enchantress, but didn't this time. They did me proud. They're a really strong unit in just about any matchup. Maybe not every matchup, but most. They'll usually do you some good. Yeah, if you guys have any comments, any requests, and anything like that, be sure to put them down in the comment section. I'll respond. Maybe I'll, like I said, this is going to be a pretty short stream, but if you guys will have a faction you'd like to see me try to play, you could ask. I'll do my best to not screw up, to not lose too badly, though there's no guarantee of that. Rick Dangerous, oh boy, scary stuff. What faction should we be? The real test of our times. What faction should I be? I kind of want to do Bretonnia again. That was fun. Bretonnia is a fun faction. I don't know why. I'm a big fan of Empire because of their theme and their design. And the lore, I'm a really big fan of Empire. In actual gameplay, I think Bretonnia might be my favorite faction to play as, just because they've got such a fun play style. Dark Elves, this is probably the only elf I think that is a major threat to Bretonnia. I have actually tried Dwellers Below against them, and they can be surprisingly good at breaking up Blackguard. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I don't think we're going to deal with. Instead, what we'll do is we'll bring some Grail Knights. I'm thinking I might actually not bother with Grail Guardians this time around, because while they can do well, one of the problems for Grail Guardians tends to be that they get trashed by Blackguard, honestly. So I could bring the Green Knight. Green Knight's not bad actually in this matchup. He does have a monstrous defense. There's a monstrous self-defense. Probably bring the Beast Slayers of Bastogne, bring some Foot Squires. I don't think they're a bad pick ever in this matchup. Well, maybe the Beast Slayers of Bastogne, but the Foot Squires definitely are not a bad pick. Some Archers. I could go cheaper on the Cav. I don't necessarily need to have all these Grail Knights and the Companions. I might go with second year of Questing Knights and then extend my front line a little bit. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Alright, you know what? We'll try something a little silly. We'll bring a Lore of Beasts caster. We'll take Flock of Doom off. She doesn't need that. We'll take Amber Spear. We'll take Wisdom's Wild Form, Pens, Blah, blah, blah. We don't need any of these. None of those are too important. We'll bring a Power Stone, but it's just so she's contributing a little bit more to that Winds of Magic replenishment. And we'll roll like this, and we'll see what happens. For the front line here, some more Men-at-Arms and Shields. I think... Yeah, I think we'll roll like that. Maybe bring Spear with shields, and then some peasants just to soak up charges. And I think what we'll try to do is we'll try to get the damsel around the flank and try to get a nice Amber Spear off. If worst comes to worst, she's a waste of 650 gold, but I wouldn't really be getting much out of it instead of that. At most, I'd be getting like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Should be okay either way. Bretonnia against Dark Elves is definitely one of the tougher matchups though, because Dark Elves can bring some competitive heavy cav with their Cold One Knights and their Dread Knights. Those guys won't win, but with Word of Pain thrown into the mix nowadays, which has become a much more popular sight, they can definitely hold you up pretty good. They also have Blackguard, which is harder to break than Phoenix Guard because their defensive stats are less easily countered by Bretonnia. Because with Phoenix Guard, the big problem is that a lot of their survivability is wrapped up in physical resistance, which you can just crush through with magic on like all of Bretonnia's heavy cav or high-end heavy cav. And Phoenix Guard also doesn't have immunity to psychology, which can surprisingly have an impact sometimes. I think if you're going with like Green Knight or units like that, where Blackguard won't break to the Fear and Terror. In general, I found Blackguard to just be a better pick than, or I found Dark Elves to be a tougher matchup. Plus, they have Witch Elves, which of course can snare your cav and into terrible positions and get them slaughtered. And cheaper AP missiles. There's just so many things that Dark Elves have that High Elves don't have to counter Bretonnia. It's a very different matchup. It's definitely a matchup that's very advantageous for. It's a matchup that's very advantageous for. Maybe not advantageous. I'd say it's about even for the Dark Elves. Bretonnia has, especially with good micro and good management of your resources, it can be an absolute powerhouse. But on the flip side, the Dark Elves definitely do have many more tools to counter you, and there's much more you have to take into account when building against them. Now, opponent here, it's hard to tell because I've got so much chaff here, like 2 peasants, there's like 200 gold there of my army. They're total trash. They wouldn't win against anything, but they're there. We'll put these guys there. This will be the anchor of my line. We've got some Foot Squires and the Beast Slayers of Bastogne. We'll put these guys on the flanks. Yeah, so we can spread them out like that. The Archers can be surprisingly good. If your opponent goes heavy on, say, Dark Shard play, especially if they do, because a lot of players will get greedy and they won't bring shielded Dark Shards. So you can get surprised. Plus, the Dark Shards often have to turn anyway. So... yeah, you can get some surprisingly good value out of your get some surprisingly good value out of your Archers. I can't even think. I'm like, I'm hopeless. I don't really know. She can be control group 3. We'll put these guys in a separate control group over there. One of the cool things about questing is that they trade rather well with heavy cav as well. They're not, maybe they're not dedicated to it, but especially the companions of Gwynel's with their ridiculous melee attack and melee defense plus 48 AP. They're just, oh, they'll butcher basically any heavy cav except most high-end dedicated anti-large. And then the questing guys themselves, honestly, with melee attack of 40, it's not bad. They're not pushovers in close quarters against other heavy cav, especially non-AP heavy cav. Regardless, yeah, we can start, I guess, and hope for the best. I don't know. We'll see what my opponent brought. Went very wide. He brought a Charybdis, which I do not recommend. I don't think that's a particularly good choice. Dark Shards with shields, which I'm not happy about at all. But his front line is rather cheap. He did Blackguard. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. All right, what are we going to do? We're going to advance straight into the jaws of hell. We're going to get our peasants working on those guys. And we are actually going to shift away. Rather than engaging, I'm actually going to shift away with my cavalry. We're going to engage on one Charybdis at a time. You need to run like heck, because I don't want you getting caught out by, who is this? Crone Hellebron on a horse. Yeah, definitely don't want that happening. Ground Lights, come back. You need to duck away. Ground Lights, Lance Formation, go. Okay, where did these guys go? And Crone Hellebron has no source of healing, which is really good. We need to get into Lance Formation, get on top of those Dark Shards, get a heal going down. This is really bad. Oh no, oh no, get out of there. Okay, she's rampaged, which is good. Which is, oh boy. No, I don't want to see what my spells can do. I already know what my damn spells can do. But, you know what? Look at that. Look at that. It's breaking. That is glorious. These guys are in there. They're going to be slaughtering those clowns. Where's the Fae? Where is the Fae? Come on. Buff those guys up. Pop that. Okay. They're routing. Get on him. Get on him. Focus on him. Get the questing knights in there. This is where the Charybdis flunks horribly. Men-at-Arms, tie those guys down. Spearmen, get in there. Fae Enchantress, get over here. You need to get over here into the back of these Red Spears. The Fae Enchantress will be breaking them somewhat. You can see... oh boy, this is really bad. We'll pop the Power Stone just to get some... No, get clear. Get, for God's sake, get clear, you clowns. And once the questing knights are clear, we'll go after them. The Grand Knights are chasing him off. I think we're going to have a win here. It's just going to take a little while. Over here, you know, Crone Hellebron, she does have decent defense stats, but we'll get it. We'll go for a full surround here and go slaughter. And you can see the Charybdis, once it routes, it's going to be great. Okay. Now my archers... fudge. Fudge. My opponent got a nice catch there on the Damsel of Beast. Very well played. These guys routed completely. Get the Fae Enchantress in there. Get you guys in there. We really need to force the Charybdis off. We don't want it coming back. Though then again, it's actually... Maybe that was a mistake on my part, to be quite fair. I'm not using my healing either, which is a big mistake. But, you know, maybe that was stupid of me. I didn't even think of that, but the Charybdis doesn't have regen. I keep thinking of it as if it was a friggin... what is it called? You can see poor Hellebron there. Hellebron's a huge investment, and she's going down the drain here. She's screwed. But I keep thinking of the Charybdis. How many are left? 5 Ground Lights. Come on, bring her down. Bring her down. Bring her down. Get her! Oh my god, if she won't break. These guys are at 5 models. Oh my god. Okay, okay. Okay, those courageous knights, they did their duty. Okay, break those Blackguard. This is game, basically. I was way too focused over there. I actually haven't casted a single bombardment yet this entire game. These guys are still chasing Charybdis, which somehow is outpacing them, despite it being tired, them being fresh. Sometimes I don't get this game, but what can you do? Companions of Quinel's there, doing a great job. Bombardment coming down is going to do those Dark Shards horribly. Yeah, my opponent still has Blackguard fighting here, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. And that is going to be it for that game. So, Bretonnia versus Dark Elves. Not, I would say, an ideal matchup for Bretonnia, but not a terrible one either. My opponent's build, going over it real quickly. One, the Charybdis is a terrible choice in this matchup, and I'm going to say why really quickly. The Charybdis is really good against heavily armored single monsters. It's very good against heavily armored cavalry that does focus more on sort of AP and damage over time stuff. It's good against cavalry like Demigryphs, who don't have the greatest DPS, but they win out against other stuff due to the fact they have huge armor, that they've got AP of their own, whereas a lot of their opposition does not have AP, or due to the fact that they're actually dealing with an opponent who's paying for armor. So, for example, against someone like Kolek, they're dealing with someone like a Necrosphinx. Units like that, they're very cost-effective just because they do AP damage, and that's huge. But against Charybdis, doesn't have good armor. So a unit like Grail Knights is incredibly powerful against it. Now, granted, my opponent here kind of screwed up additionally with the fact that he let the Charybdis get caught out. He after chasing my cav a little bit, he turned around and went back to deal with some infantry. And I simply turned my Grail Knights around, cranked around, got a nice meaty rear charge into it, and melted it. 25 kills on irrelevant infantry is nothing. That's not good. Apologies there. Similar for the other Charybdis, they just wasn't getting the value that needed net slaughtering peasant units. It needs to be killing heavy cav, but against Bretonnia heavy cav, it's not that good because your opponent is basically guaranteed to bring some Grail Knights. Grail Knights are going to dumpster the Charybdis. Plus, the Charybdis is really bad against cheap, low AP shooting. It's only got 50 armor. Sure, it has 35% missile resist, but peasant bows with fire, as you saw in that game, they were just melting the Charybdis. And they're not a good unit by any means, but for their cost, they're doing such efficient damage to the Charybdis. It's just brutal. Peasants surprisingly racking up 11 kills. I don't know how. Probably the Dread Spears, but that's still crazy. 11 kills on peasants. Damsel of Beast did not give me the results I wanted at all. I was trying to chip away at the Blackguard with her. Honestly, though, bad micro on my part. Allowing a caster on a horse to get caught by Blackguard is pathetic, and that was really bad micro on my part. Faenchantress. She's Faenchantress. She did okay. Foot Squires, one of the surprisingly good units in this matchup. Dark Elves will rarely bring Executioners. They will sometimes bring Sisters of Slaughter. But the most common elite infantry you see is Blackguard of Nagron. One of the cool things about Foot Squires is while their melee stats do not look good, their defense is low. Their offense is actually low. They do have monstrous weapon strength, and they do have a very high they have a bonus versus infantry stacked on top of a rather high weapon strength of 35. So for reference, most great weapon units and their tier level are sitting at about 34 weapon strength, and that's before you count the bonus versus large. You count or bonus versus infantry. You throw the bonus versus infantry in there, and Foot Squires are hitting for 44 weapon strength against enemy heavy infantry. It's brutal. Foot Squires are actually a really good counter, in my opinion, to Blackguard. They're a really good counter to units like Blackguard Corsairs. And of course, they'll dumpster everything lower tier as well. They won't do great against Witch Elves. They won't do great against Sisters of Slaughter at all. They'll suffer horribly against Executioners, but that's what you've got your cav there for. Bretonnian cav tears those units to shreds very, very easily. So it's all okay. Regardless, yeah, you can see the companions of Quinel's just basically took no damage and slaughtered the backline because they were running amok amongst spears and dark shards and units like that. They're such a strong unit. I really never underestimate these guys. They're just so good. But otherwise, yeah, definitely. Good game to my opponent. Like I said, I don't think the Charybdis is worth it in this matchup. I think you're better off bringing Blackguard and Bolt Throwers as your main counter. Maybe some Cold One Knights. I'd have never tried a Cold One play against Bretonnia, but it could be potentially effective, especially now that if you bring Word of Pain to back them up, it could be good. Crone Hellbrawn, I'm actually not a fan of in this matchup either. I don't think she's really worth it against Bretonnia. I think you're much better off bringing Malekith just for the slows and the debuffs and his ability to nuke enemy archers with Gaze of Malice, stuff like that. So regardless, good game to my opponent, Rick Dangerous. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. If you have any comments, any criticism, any questions about the game, anything like that, be sure to share them, and I will respond as soon as I can. And as usual, guys, I'm going to be hopping off after this one. I do hope... Wow, look at me ranting. I thought it was like I was casting this, and I'm just ranting and raving. But I will be hopping off after now. Well, Do you guys want me to hop off, or do you guys want me to do one more? Look at me. I'm like ranting and raving like I'm just wrapping up a... I'm just going to like autopilot. It's like I'm wrapping up a cast. But do you guys want me to continue now? Well, do you guys want me to hop off, or do you guys want me to do one more? I can do one more. It's like... look at me. I'm just ranting and raving. It's so bad. But, why not? We'll do one more. We'll do one more, I think. And give it a shot. Give it a fair shake. See what we can do. Probably if there's going to be another... I might do another stream tomorrow. I'm actually surprised I haven't had a loss in this stream. Usually I take at least one L. I'm surprised I haven't taken one yet. So watch this last one be it. But that is. It's okay. I think I'm going to do a second stream tomorrow. I definitely should have the time for it. Northern Chaos Waste. To try to visualize that map. I don't really remember what it looks like. You guys have any preferences for faction you'd like to see demonstrated? Anything you'd like to see? Oh, my opponent's doing Bretonia. We'll do Empire. I want to do Empire against Bretonia because that's a fun one. We'll bring... Decisions. I think we'll do we'll do the Griffite squad. We're actually gonna essentially aim to beat beat the Bretonians at their own game. We're gonna bring Carl. You're gonna throw him on a horse. He's got Hold the Line. He's got Golem Raz. He's got Reichland Runefang. We're not gonna bother with Volkmar. I think Volkmar's too expensive. We could bring a Light Wizard. The Light Wizard's not bad in this matchup. Just for net and Baroness Time Warp and Faust Protection. I'm tempted to try to bring a Warrior Priest. The problem is that's going to be really expensive, and that's going to overinvest very heavily into my cavalry game. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think what we're... The Bright Wizard, there's actually basically you can make use of just about every Empire Wizard in this matchup. Every one of them is pretty strong. But I do personally like the Light Wizard best, just for locking out enemies. So, yeah, this last one, we'll bring a front line of some great swords. We'll throw in some Sigmar's Sons, and we'll throw in... I don't know if I want a crossbow unit or not. I could, but I'm not going to be able to outshoot my opponent at all. So what I think I'll do is I'll just bring 2 spears. We'll veteran them up a little bit, and we'll roll with that. We have some front line. We don't have much shooting. If my opponent goes mounted yeoman heavy... Well, we still have a net. If my opponent goes mounted yeoman heavy. It's one of those things you almost never see from Bretonia nowadays, because mounted yeomen are so bad. And especially against Empire, because Empire has so many shooting options. It's kind of a bad choice, in my opinion. Because there's a very high chance that no matter what your opponent brings, there's going to be a lot of shooting or some shooting involved. And even if your opponent brings, say, Outriders, mounted yeomen will get beaten by Outriders in shooting. So that's a little bit of a rough spot. So okay, there's Chaos Wastes. My opponent went very wide, so he's got a lot of infantry. Now, one of the unfortunate things for him is that Bretonian infantry doesn't hold up all that well. They don't. We'll see. This could be a tough one, just because I've gone very narrow. We'll throw these guys out to the flank. I do have Fear and Terror, thanks to the Royal of Griffites. What I can basically guarantee, because my opponent's build, is that he did not go elite enough, or all that elite on cavalry. So we're going to overload one flank here with our top-tier troops. We'll make this control group 2. We'll make this control group 3. What does our wizard have? Our wizard has Net of Mintok, Wood, False Protection, and Baroness Time Warp. So basically the spell selection I would recommend if you're playing as basically the spell selection I would recommend if you're going against Bretonia and trying to bring a light caster is that. And we'll see. Hopefully my opponent didn't bring a whole bunch of shooting, because that could make life miserable, because I have basically nothing to deal with it. I can hit him with a net, and that's basically it. Otherwise all I can do is sit and weep. We got Demigriffs out on the flanks. Yeah, we should be okay. Demis actually lose to Grail Knights, in my experience. when they are charging out. My opponent does have a Grail Relic up there, so we will push up. I want to get some spotting done, and then we're going to push around the flank. Cavalry. Okay, my opponent has Knights Errant. Terrible unit, Knights of the Realm, Knights Errant. So he's got very heavy on the light cav. The problem is that cav is not going to do him very much good here at all, because I've not really brought the targets for him. I've got no backline. So what does he have? Is that Lewin or the Fae? A Prophetess. That is quite a shocker. Knights Errant, Knights of the Realm. Okay, we're going for an immediate alpha strike on these guys. Go, 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 go. That was terrible engagement, but you know what? We'll take it. Over here in the front line, we can engage, get our engagements going. Go, 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 go. Spears. And this flank is going to turn into, hopefully, very quickly, into a massacre. What is that? Was that a spell that I've never seen before? Knights Errant. Didn't recognize that. It looked like a bunch of dirt clouds falling from the sky. Okay, those guys shattered. We do still have a pretty healthy unit of infantry. You can't see the Sigmar Sun's not doing the greatest there, but we are going to be able to get some meaty charges in here. We're going to be able to do some good damage. So, all in all, oh, that was an Awakening of the Wood, I think. Not the end of the world. And we have essentially won this flank. So now off to deal with what's her face. We'll start rolling up these clowns up. Over on the flank, not looking so hot for the demigriffs. Those spears shouldn't be able to do too much. We'll be able to get a nice meaty rear charge in there. The demigriffs holding up okay, but I can't afford to let them get caught up by all those spears, so we're going to pull away. And then we're going to pull our cavalry contingent through. We'll get the spears out on the flank. Run, run, run! I'm coming in for a rear charge here, and I'm going to try to... come on. Go, 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 go. Okay, you know what? We're going to have to fight. I just don't want to be fighting with pole arms. God dang it. These guys just do not want... get in there. Okay, the flank's been rolled up. The greatswords, though, still doing some work. Alright, we'll slaughter those guys. We'll pull these demigriffs away. Control group 3. Well, these guys are going to get massacred. They're actually going to get terror routed. And now we can turn around and go deal with the Prophetess of Life. So, good stuff. And you guys can go plug some of these gaps. Carl and Net on her, because she's not leaving. Get in there. Pop that. Get these Knights Errant off us. They're such a pain. The greatswords, you can see, just holding so strong. We're going to be able to snipe out the Enchantress here, which is going to be really nice. She's not going to be able to escape. This is... Honestly, if you're going to bring a Prophetess, and it's not an unplayable Lord choice. I'm not a fan of her at all, but it's not unplayable. But if you are going to bring her, you need to bring her on a... Is she dead? Yeah, she's dead. She is dead as a doorknob. We're going to pop some defensive buffs here. The terror is going to start kicking in now. We're going to... Oh, boy, you guys come back. Come back! Spear's coming back. My opponent still has that contingent over there of some stuff, but at this point it's going to be a massacre, I think. Okay. I don't really know what my opponent has left. Definitely, he doesn't have much left that can actually stick around without shattering when looked at or when given an ugly look. So the great swords over there. The great swords are just done. They're such a good unit in this matchup. Battle pilgrims over there. You guys, okay, you know what? Screw that. All of you guys are the same control group. Go, go, go. The greatswords here not holding up. They're I say they're not holding up. They've got 122 kills. We're actually just going to give them a little bit of a buff there. Not going to provide them with anything crazy, but get them a single cast of that. Going to isolate these troops. We do have the Royal of Griffite, so they're going to be terror routing all of these guys. I don't know if my opponent still has a Grail Relic. I can't actually see it. Oh, he does, which is really bad. because that still gives him some hope of rallying. Dagger Knights with halberds come back here, go deal with those knights. Well, those guys did break. Pathetic. We're supposed to hold to the bitter end. Doesn't matter. It's going to be a full rout, I think. So, if I with Empire, if you're going against Bretonia, I do think this is, and oh wow, the game just crashed. The game just crashed, guys. Unfortunately, well, on the bright side, I was about to finish the game. I was about to finish the stream anyway. On the not so bright side, I don't know why it crashed. That's really odd. I'm gonna hop back in real quick, but yeah, the stream just, I don't know, the game just crashed. Fortunately, it didn't crash in game. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna restart the game, but for a little bit, but not sure. Not so bright side, I don't know why it crashed. That's really odd. I'm gonna hop back in real quick. Yeah, the stream just, I don't know, the game just crashed. Fortunately, it didn't crash in game. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna restart the game, but for a little bit, but either way, not sure. So either way, wow, and now it's telling me that I dropped the battle, despite the fact that I literally have a the replay saved. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the replay's here too. That's really odd. I don't know if it. We'll see if it dropped me. I don't know. I don't. Either way, really quickly going over because that was probably the last one I'm doing for the day. I'll be hopping off. I will be streaming tomorrow, probably around the same time. I'll set an actual time. Probably around 2 or 3 at noon, 2 or 3 afternoon, Eastern time, Eastern U.S. But if you're dealing with Empire against the if you're dealing as Empire against the Bretonians, it's definitely my recommendation that you bring Carl. Carl on a horse, just because Carl has bound armor pierce. He's got armor piercing no matter what. He doesn't lose his AP just because he's not mounted on a griffin, which is the problem in my opinion with a lot of Empire, within a lot of the other lords, including Boris. And Boris otherwise I think is pretty good, but even if, because in a lot of other matchups you're not looking for your lord to do a lot of damage, so Boris just being a little more survivable is more important than Carl's damage. But in this matchup I definitely like Carl plus 4 demigriffs, and the reason I think 4 is the magic number of demigriffs. It gives you 2 for each flank, so if your opponent goes with one of the honestly kind of classic setups with Bretonia, which is quad Grail Knight or 2 Grail Knight questing, or 3 Grail Knight and then the questing knights, the new Regiment of Brown questing knights, or something like that. If your opponent goes for some crazy heavy duty flank build, you have the stopping power to deal with them. And then sure, it doesn't leave you with the greatest selection of remaining money, but you can still get greatswords. Greatswords are an amazing pick in this matchup. They will really dumpster Bretonian infantry every time. There's no Bretonian infantry that does great against greatswords. They're just such a solid choice. You compare them in stats. Now, granted, they are expensive, but at 900 gold, they're not too prohibitive. And you can compare them to, say, Bretonia's battle pilgrims. Like, sure, their stats are not that much different, but they've actually even got better leadership. But the greatswords just have so much more HP. They've got 95 armor, which is all that matters. The greatswords will tear through the battle pilgrims like butter, where the battle pilgrims can't really hurt the greatswords at all. And then really their most direct counter, their most direct sort of representative of the Bretonian roster is the foot squires. But the foot squires have terrible melee defense, so they are getting hit very consistently. The greatswords still have much more HP. They still have better leadership, and they've got much better offensive stats. The only thing that the foot squires really have going for them is charge bonus and weapon strength. So really, greatswords are such a good pick in this matchup. Definitely use them. Definitely take advantage of them. They can definitely do you proud and win you some games. I'm going to be ending the stream here. I do hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found it entertaining. I will be, like I said, streaming again tomorrow. It's probably same time. I think you can schedule new streams here on YouTube, so I'll do that right after. I thought you can stream options cards. I thought there was an option to schedule future streams, but I'll look into it. Regardless, same time roughly tomorrow should be probably going to be scheduled around 2 Eastern time. So that's my goal for tomorrow. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, then I do hope you can continue visiting the channel, continue supporting the channel. If you have any comments, any criticism, any questions, anything like that, be sure to share them. I guess here in the chat that's a little difficult, but you can always post on my other videos or anything like that, and I'm generally try to be responsive. And yeah, I do appreciate you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this stream, and I will see you all in the next one. Wyvern out. It's a little difficult, but